What's up, guys? Come on in here and join me. Yeah, what's up, guys? Come on in here and join me. Pastor Kim's going to come in here in just a second. Yeah. It's good to see you guys. Glad you're here with us online tonight in the middle of Corona. What's up, Pastor Kim? How are you?
What's going on?
It kept kicking me out for some reason, so I had to keep trying to get back in there. So
I wonder if it's because there's so many people on right now.
probably it's because everybody's doing some ministry right now. And
I know it.
It's good to see you. I'm glad to be on live with you tonight. And I know that, we see each other all the time. We talk to each other all day long. So I think it's about time we just get in here and talk to some people and answer some questions. I know you have a big platform, and your ministry is mainly a lot of women. I know there's a lot of women in your ministry, and they've come from some rough background, or they're going through some rough seasons in their life. And I just really want to go in here and get a perspective for millennials and see what you really have dived into, and see what God's really speaking to you about millennials in this time period. So if you want to greet yourself, you're Pastor Kim. Everybody should know you at this point. Real Talk Kim.
I'm Real Talk Kim, and I pastor a church right here in Fayetteville, Georgia, called Limitless Church. And yeah, I'm an author. I got a new book coming out the 7th of April called Shut Hell Up. And I'm glad to be here, and I'm super proud of you for stepping out and starting to do these things.
I know, and I used to do them at one time, and I stopped completely.
What made you stop?
And then you were like, "Do it. If God's got it on your heart,
what made you stop?"
I don't know. I guess I don't know. I don't know what it was, because the following was still there, and people were still engaged, and I guess it was just myself, just like maybe I didn't feel very adequate in what I was doing in the season I was in, but maybe
See, I think that's a really good point right there. That's why I asked you.
Yeah, probably so.
Because you didn't feel adequate, and that's why most people stop and don't walk in their purpose, is because they don't feel like they are adequate to do it. And I think, and that right there keeps God from doing great things in someone's life and using you for greatness. So I'm proud of you.
Well, I'm glad to be on here with you, and I believe this is going to be a new normal for myself. Yeah. And I think that, and I don't want to go too far ahead of questions, but I feel like that's what Corona has done.
Yeah.
And what this season has done is it's brought people back to where God has placed them to be.
Yeah, reset.
And, it's making us reset. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the word I really feel like for me for this season is reset. It's giving you time to handle things that you put on the back burner.
Oh yeah. Things
absolutely. That you got so busy with life, all of a sudden now we're showing back up to life.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so I just got some questions. I know,
okay.
You know us, we're preachers, and so if you don't get us into a line, we'll just go all over the place.
Yeah.
So I just have some questions I really want to ask you for millennial purposes. For people, maybe you're speaking straight to 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, and you're really diving into that tonight. And so what is something that you would have done earlier with the information that you have now?
Man, I would have not thought too much into a book. I would have written that book and not been afraid of people not buying it. I think that in my head, until I was 40 years old, I always felt like you did. I always felt like, who wants to read my book? Who cares about my story? And then after I started writing my book and I put it out there, I realized a lot of people wanted to hear my story. And so I think I would have done that sooner. I think I would have gotten serious more sooner. Yeah. I would have stopped caring what people thought about me a lot sooner.
Oh yeah.
And I would have stopped. I stopped comparing myself completely at about 40, 42. I would have done it a lot sooner. Like I see my sons all the time, and like my two sons are millennials. And I've got the platform for them,
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know why you millennials do this, but y'all are like, I don't want to ride nobody's coattail. If I'd had somebody coattail to ride, I'd have loved to ride somebody's coattail. So I think I would have wished I could have done this sooner.
Oh yeah.
I would have written that book sooner. I would have not been scared of people sooner.
Well, I think as a church kid too, and as a pastor's kid, I always hear hear those people testify in church, and you always hear them say, "Man, if I would have got saved sooner, if I would have just known, I would have done it." And I think that etches in my mind. I'm just like, man, but if you would have done it sooner, what would you have done with what would your life look like now?
I know it.
And then for you, you say you're all the time, you started out around 40 years old, and God has given you the world. Literally,
in 6 years,
opened so many doors.
In 6 years.
In 6 years, God has opened. every platform across America, all over the world. God has just given you an opportunity. And so it makes me think, like, especially for the younger viewers that's listening tonight, if you start at 12, 13, 14, 15, you start at 20, 21, 22, look what God can do, you know? And so I think that's really my platform that God's given me too, is to be, and I always say that even when I taught teen class in our church in West Virginia, is I always tell them, I'm an encourager. I might hurt you, you know, I might cut you sometimes with words, but I'm encouraging you in the same season. And so that's my thing. Like, if you're in the 20-year-old, 30-year-old era right now, if you're younger than that, if you get serious about God, and I really believe that, you know, what we talk about on a daily basis is that if we can just get serious about God and what God's called us to, then we could absolutely change the world. And not even the world, but our world.
And I think, you know, the young kids are so caught up in people and thinking they need a platform and they need to do it all by themselves. But I think that if y'all would just jump, man, I'm going to tell you, I was a hustler. I've been a hustler my whole life. And I feel like sometimes the millennials nowadays almost feel entitled. They almost feel, you know, and I just think you got to get out of that. You just got to start owning your life. And you got to stop thinking you got to be a certain age to do things. And just do it. And the worst thing that can happen is you fall.
Right, right.
Just get back up again.
I tweeted out today, actually, the worst thing could happen is you fail and get wisdom for the next time you try.
Yes.
And so I think that's
true. Is that, like, we're so afraid of failing, but why? Fail forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess for church kids too, like we grow up and see older people look at us like, what are y'all doing here? You know, like, why do you think you can do this? You're not paying tithes to the church. You know, like, you know, you feel that on as a kid or as a young adult.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
And so they're thinking, like, you shouldn't have to say so. You know, you don't pay the bills. And I know I've heard that before, just like being a young leader in the church.
Yeah.
But
I think that's a hard part just for all of the kids on here right now, the young adults. I just want to say I'm sorry for all the pastors out there that try to stifle you. You know, there's so many. I got a whole bunch of millennials around me, and I listen to their input. And I think that's the key. I think the key is getting around pastor, getting around some churches, some places, platforms that will listen to you and let you fly.
Absolutely. I think a big engagement, I love what you do too for your church, is, yes, we have adults here, but let's pull some young adults in.
Oh, yeah.
Because let them give us their ideas. Let's hear what they got to say. Let's let them be a part of this, because, listen, they should be leading with us.
Period.
And that's why I hate when churches be like, well, this is the next generation of leaders. No, this is leaders right now. We're doing it right now. And so I think we should, you know, churches, ministries should encourage people to keep pushing. This is your now ministers.
This is your now ministry. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that's a huge thing. I think it's a huge thing.
Yeah.
So just jumping into it, that's what you said, just to recap that question, to jump into that earlier, what you know. So number 2, the question I have for you is, do you believe that this is a time that God is revealing what or who we are that we didn't see about ourselves before? Do you think God is showing us who we are or what we are not versus what was before?
Yeah. I think right now, if you've been forever trying to fit into a place that you're not supposed to be, I think right now you're about to find out.
Oh, yeah.
Because right now we're having to tap into our gifts. We're having to tap into those things that we haven't tapped into forever. Yeah. Like, I'm going right back to the very thing that got me well known, which is in my car videos, sitting in front of I've been on more podcasts and online conferences than I've ever been on in forever, sitting right in front of this phone. And so I think that in this season, we got to stop trying to put ourselves in the lane of somebody else's and just find out what our lane is. What are we good at? And then hustle doing it, and don't ever lose the hustle, and just do it. Be consistent. Even if you don't have 1,000 people on your live and you only got one person, keep doing them every day, because that consistency is what pays off. But Absolutely. If you love it and you're good at it, then you will be consistent.
Absolutely.
So that's what that just dropped in my spirit right there, Ty. Good. If you are doing something in your life that you hate, that is probably not your purpose.
Yeah.
You got to find out that thing that makes you get on a phone and talk to it all by itself. And you would do it if nobody was watching.
That's good. Because the one thing our generation's looking for, I believe, is the consistency of whatever it don't matter what you're doing. If you're consistent with it, people love you, but you've got to be authentic with your consistency.
Yeah.
Have to.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people love Real Talk Kim, because you're consistent with your talk and you're authentic about who you are.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that that's what millennials, I think that's what young adults and young Christians are craving. I think that's why it's not easy for us to walk into an older church. Nothing against it. Nothing. I mean, even
but y'all get so freaking bored. It's like,
yeah, it's just bored. And it's not that it's not authentic, because those are those people that love Jesus and they've been with Jesus for years. But I think that people are looking for the consistency of staying relevant and going after God in a relevant manner. You know what I mean?
Ty, you know what taught me was, I remember I was on a show called Preachers of Atlanta. And I'm thinking, I am so relevant and I am so cutting edge. And we were sitting around a table doing a TV shoot. And I thought, I'm about to throw my kids up under the bus because neither one of them wanted to work in ministry with me. I need to turn this off, man. There's these ladies that got me in this group chat. Y'all stop putting people in freaking group chats, man.
Yeah, it's
like
annoying.
Nobody wants to hear you go back and forth. But I was sitting there and I thought I was going to throw my sons under the bus. Like, why are you working in ministry with me? Like, they're both very, very talented. Well, I'm sitting there talking to them and I just said, guys, man, I travel around the world and man, like all these kids are working with their parents in church, but y'all won't work with me in church. And Lincoln, my little sassy butt, says, because we hate your church. I was like, what? They were like, we hate your church. And I'm sitting there thinking, but I'm cool. Like, people love me online. And all of a sudden my son looked at me and he said, but Mom, you're doing everything. Like you're over here trying to lead in praise and worship when you suck at it. Like you can't even keep beat. You can't even keep the rhythm. We're all trying to stay up on, we're trying to stay with you, and you're over here killing us. And that's when I realized I got to get me some millennials around me. And I sat down right then, Ty. I sat down, I got my church in shape, and who did it? Millennials talking to me. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they'll keep you relevant. And they'll keep where you're going. So somebody asked us earlier, we're talking about hustling, and somebody asked earlier on my Facebook, like, how did we meet? And so I'm going to address that real quick if I can.
Oh, yeah, you got to, because it's what we're talking about right here.
So we're hustlers. And so the first one I saw Pastor Kim, we were at Redemption with Pastor Ron and Hope Carpenter. And I actually got a picture with you. And Pastor Hope actually photobombed our first picture that we were in.
Oh, so my gosh.
Yeah, so I think it was Stephen Ward who, like, hey, Pastor Kim, we get a picture with Ty. So I jumped in there. We got a picture. Pastor Hope photobombed us. That's the first time I saw you in person. We didn't know each other.
Yeah, and then even the other day when I was on with her, I gave her your phone number to call. She goes, oh, we know the Hicks. He's in the organization. I said, no, the son. This is the son. Yeah,
so that's where we first met. But we didn't know each other. And so, years later, like 2 years later, this past, I don't know, summer, I started making social posts for you. Yeah. Like, nobody asked me. I was just taking your quotes.
I just saw this guy, like, he just kept popping on pages with quotes he had made of mine. And he would make really cool flyers. And I needed that.
The pictures from other different churches. I was just taking all your stuff and I was making these posts and put my name on the bottom of it. And next thing I know, you contacted me and you said, like, hey, I need help in this area. Do you want a job? Pretty much. And I was just like, heck yeah. And I think you were in Australia at that time. Yeah. It was in August and you're in Australia. And you said, when I get back from Australia, I'll give you a call. So you came back from Australia. It was like, done deal. It is what it is. And I've been working for you ever since. And so.
But how long did you do it? Like, you did it. This is where I think a lot of young adults miss it. Yeah. You did it for like a month or two before I even acknowledged you.
Yeah. I think it was like June, July. And then you didn't even message
me. Most people would have quit.
Yeah. Well, I had people telling me, like, you need to stop. Like, that's weird. Or, if she was going to talk to you by this point, she would already have told you or talked to you. And I'm like, no, I'm just going to keep doing this because, for one, my numbers were going up on that side of it. But for two, it was like getting the attention of not only people, but for you too. Yeah. And little did I know it was an answered prayer on your side as well.
Yeah.
And so I would just encourage, like, you think your hustle is irrelevant, but you may be the answer that God's trying to send to somebody by you hustling.
Yeah, right.
And so, but that's where he met. So whoever was asking that question earlier, it was I would say coincidence, but not really, because God had a door already open for us.
Yeah, but if you would have been one of those people, like, I see these people all the time that act like they are so wonderful. And they're like, I'm going to charge you $1,800, blah, blah, blah. And they're going hungry.
Yeah.
when they could be getting their name out there. You know how many free events I've done this week?
Yeah.
You got to do what you got to do to keep your butt out there.
Right.
And that's what you did. You got out there and you were like, you know what, I'm going to sow right now in order for the future, because you were very smart. That is the wittiest and the smartest and the most brilliant thing to do, to get your name out there, is to do free.
Yeah.
You know, just do some stuff for free and get your name out there and get your face out there. But we don't want to do that. We think we're too good.
Yeah. Or we're just so scared of the rejection. And I think that is.
I didn't think about that.
I think that people are scared of the rejection. I mean, this is what I do. I listen to a business guy, and he's like, just message them on Instagram. If they're going to see the DM, either they're going to say yes or no. And he's like, but what's the worst that could happen? They not message you back. Nobody else is going to know about it. So my thing is, just
I love that.
To shoot for the stars. I mean, there's people that I've
Who is that?
Gary V. He's a business guy.
Okay, I like that.
And so there's a guy I messaged actually yesterday. I don't know him. He sings for Bethel and Elevation. He's all around. I messaged him. I'm like, hey, you want to do an Instagram live? I mean, he might say yeah. You know what I mean?
He might.
You never know. So
because all of us got time right now. We all sitting right here.
Everybody, all quarantined right now.
This is the best time to get used, man. This is the best time to get your face out there.
Absolutely. I see people like commenting now too. I'm scared of rejection. Like, it's the fact that rejection. Rejection makes people freeze up. Rejection has stopped so many dreams.
Rejection will make you never let your heart be loved again, and you miss out on the most wonderful gift from God because you're afraid.
Yeah.
Who cares if you get rejected?
Yeah, I mean, God will open another door.
But who cares? Like, what is the worst thing about rejection? God saved you, but yet you tried. Right? I used to be so scared of rejection. Man, not no more. I'm just like, my problem that I still am trying to fix is I don't want to put people out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to ask people to do something for me, because then I feel like they're going to have to do it.
Yeah.
They're going to feel like they have to do it, but they really don't want to do it. And then I'm like, but you won't even know if they're doing that.
Yeah.
They're going to do it for you, and you're not going to know if they didn't want to do it. Just ask. So I think we're all afraid of some. That's it.
Well, because you just don't know what door God wants open for you next.
Yeah.
And you could let that rejection stop you from your next blessing.
Yeah.
You really could. You really could. And not even blessing monetarily too. Like, I think a lot of people miss that. Blessings are not always money. Some blessings are connection.
Yeah. Relationships.
Relationships.
God uses relationships in every promotion.
Absolutely.
He just does. You can't get to another level without somebody over here saying, you know how I got started?
Tell me.
Listen to this. I got started sitting in my mom and dad's bedroom upstairs, lost everything, 36. And there's a guy named Trent Shelton from Rehab Time.
Yep.
And he happened to see me, and he was like, Real Talk Kim, I like you. Now, he wasn't near as big as he is now. And he said, I do Rehab Time every Thursday. He said, I'd like you to be the preacher that comes on and prays. And I got on there, and before I knew it, I'm like, tons of followers. Everybody started getting to know who I was, because I would sit in a room and do a prayer call, even when I was scared to death.
Yeah.
And God used a relationship to get me out there.
Yeah, you're consistent with it.
Yep.
And God saw you being consistent in one season. He'd open the door for another one. Absolutely. All right. So next question I have for you, trying to switch it through. There you go.
Hold on. Hold on.
So we have question 3 I have on here is, how can you use this is a great one for you, and hope you go back to Car Chronicles, is how can you use what you have to succeed where you are? Because a lot of people say, I can't do it. I don't have the platform. I don't have the followers. I don't have anything. So how can you use what you have to succeed where you are?
Okay, so I have a mentorship program called RTK Inner Circle. And in that mentorship program, I'm always on with them. I hang out with them, and I'll just pop on and go, all of me loves all of me. Talking about falling in love with yourself.
Yep.
And so one of the girls said, I think we should do a challenge. And so she started a challenge. And the challenge was, I want you to say something about yourself. Talk about yourself. What do you love about yourself? All of a sudden, there was hundreds of videos, people stepping out of their comfort zones. And people found their purpose in that. Like Lulu's on here, Stall Chronicles. She started Stall Chronicles. Sorry, y'all. She started, my finger keeps touching. She started Stall Chronicles from sitting in her stall at work, doing that. All of me loves all of me, telling what she loves. And she realized that she had blessed so many people with that testimony that it did something for her. And she thought, I never dreamed in a million years that, see, anytime that you're going to do anything for God, it starts with you helping somebody else. How is everybody in the inner circle finding their purpose? By one phone.
It's true.
It's taking your phone and it's using that phone as your Oprah TV camera.
Absolutely.
It's starting a blog on your phone. It's starting writing your book in your notes. Your phone is everything you need, and
Absolutely.
Consistency.
Absolutely. People are looking
every day, even when you don't want to. I get up and have to fix my dog. I didn't even get dressed today. Today I was working on Teachable. I was trying to figure out Teachable because I'm always learning.
Yeah.
And I had on my hair wasn't fixed, but I got up, got dressed, got my makeup on for the people.
For the people.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to do it even when you don't want to, even when you want to lay in bed and Netflix.
Yeah.
You still get up, you still do it, and you do it for the future. You realize the more consistent you are, one of those doors are going to open just because of your consistency.
Absolutely.
You never know
for
when
you
that
too,
when fall in the right hands.
When you started out too, for the people who don't know, is you started doing videos in your car, and your car was broke down on the side of the road.
Yeah.
And so my thing is, you've got to see your perspective of where you are and what can I do right now with what I have.
Yeah.
And I think too, for
it was a phone.
Yeah, your phone. Millennials you're in the greatest season of anybody else. You have so much technology. And I think the Corona season that we're standing in right now too, what an incredible time for you to get closer to God. What an incredible time for you to do anything, do Instagram
I'm
lives.
learning TikTok.
You're learning TikTok.
And I'm 47.
Yeah.
And you know what's so cool is I was like, I can't do TikTok because that's a lot of work. Millennials, y'all are really smart. And then I realized, why do I have to be like anybody else? Let me just do prayers.
There you go.
It's taking off because I'm doing what is my lane.
Right.
So I think it's just using, honey, listen, the last Corona 2-3 weeks, I've got my phone back out and I've started doing all these little car videos again. I can't even get out of the house to go preach.
Yeah.
Yet I'm right back to the very thing that started me.
Because I think that God will do that to you. God will always bring you back down to keep you humble.
Yeah.
And for those people who don't think God would do that, they're totally mistaken, because
he'll wreck your plans if he sees your plans
you
are
back
wrecking
every time. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so I think too, God will do that to us. And again, I heard Bishop Jake said that he, definitely God didn't bring this Corona, but God will definitely use the situation.
Oh, he's going to use it.
In. And so we've got to just see the season we're in. And what season that God has you in right now. And you've got to learn how to grow in it, grow in you, figure out who you are. For millennials that stand on there tonight, figure out who you are. This is what people get to me, Pastor Kim, is that, my family are pastors, and people will come into a church and they say, well, you tell me what I'm supposed to do. That ain't our job. We can tell you where we need help in, but for us to tell you what
Say that again.
Like,
for the people in the back.
We can tell you what we need help in, but we can't tell you what God created you to be.
What's your purpose?
That's for you to dig in. That's for you to find out. That's your purpose and your destiny. And we're here. Leaders are there to help steward you and where you're supposed to go. But
you know what I'm learning?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good.
You know what I'm learning in this season? Like, I even started thinking today, like, I'm changing so much up right now. Like, you gotta put people around. If you wanna be aggressive, you can't have people that ain't got no drive.
Yeah, that's true.
In this season, you got to get around some people. I need people with drive.
Yeah.
I need people that are thinking ahead of me. I need people that wanna work as hard as me. And I think in this season's a great time for us to be reflecting. Maybe I need to be around some people that are a little bit more creative. Maybe I need to be friends with Ty and let Ty show me how to work Canva. Ty's been working for me forever. I've learned how to work Canva. I've learned how to work Teachable today. I'm learning how to work so much that it's a one-man show if I want it to be.
Yeah. But the thing is, you've got to find those people who are keep pulling you and propelling you forward.
Have to.
You have to. Because if not, you'll be... Lord, help me here. But if not, you'll be like the religious churches who are still stuck in 1970.
Gosh.
And you'll be by yourself before too long.
How many churches are going to go under right now because they didn't do live stream that's been out forever?
Look how many churches who never progressed with internet. You know what I mean? Like, so you've got to keep people in your path that are pulling you forward, because this is what I feel like too, Pastor Kim, and we quote it all the time in church or ministry, is God will never leave you or forsake you. He'll sit closer than a brother. He's right there with you. But one thing that God does is he goes before you. He's creating a path before you. And although he's standing beside of you, he's also in front of you, waving you forward.
And he ain't going to do it for you.
He ain't going to do it for you, but he'll wave you forward, and he'll give you a path, and he'll put people in your path that help bring you to where you need to be.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Absolutely. And so I think people have got to realize that I think people see themselves as Jesus, but we are not Jesus. We're Peter, and God's telling us to get out of the boat. And I think especially in this season that we're in right now, there are too many churches and Christians and leaders and pastors and whoever else that are stuck in the boat. And God is saying, if you want to go to 2021, you want to make it to 2025, you've got to step out of the boat right here, because people need consistency and authenticity. And people won't follow you unless they see you're stepping out of the boat that I told you to step out of.
Especially millennials, man.
Especially
millennials be like, girl, bye.
Yeah.
You know?
Don't tell me what to do if you ain't done it yourself.
Right. But hey, I'm 47. I'm like that. What are you telling me? Hush.
Yeah.
Like, your life is a complete mess, and you trying to tell me how to do my life.
Yeah.
You ain't even valid.
Come on, preach. All right, we'll keep going on. Number 4 I got on here. Do you think this is a time that God is giving us, which I think we've already answered that, God has given us to be creative? And if so, what has changed in your own new normal, or how has your normal daily routine changed since this?
Man, I'm going to tell you something. This thing has kickstarted me. I'm preaching this reset message everywhere, and I'm living it. Yeah. I've got a whole mentorship program watching me. I've got a whole church, Limitless Church, watching me. I got millions of people all over social media watching me. I can't be preaching something right now and not doing it. I'm leading the pack. You gonna see me everywhere, because I'm telling you, don't you sit in your house. Don't you not do nothing. They gonna see me popping up. I've heard that more. Even in my staff a text thread today. They're like, Pastor Kim, we just got to give it to you, man. You are being so innovative. You are out there. I'm everywhere. You ain't going, when you lay your head down at night, you're going to be seeing Real Talk Kim in your eyeballs. Because what it's done is it's let me realize, see, I've been doing Live at 9 for a year. Yeah. I've been doing it consistently for a whole year. Thank you, God. Because it's kind of giving me a platform that all these other people are over here that I got on their nerves. I got all their nerves. Why are you doing that? There she is again. Now they're all trying to do it. Catch up. Well, here's what I've realized, Ty. If they all starting here, then I got to go here.
Yeah.
So every day I'm up early. I got my coffee. I'm on Google learning how to do stuff. I'm watching video and online courses. I'm doing stuff I ain't done in forever. I'm doing, because I got time right now, so that this ain't gonna last long. We ain't gonna have much longer, y'all. We're not gonna have much longer. And then you're gonna have to go back and get into your busy life. You're gonna be mad at yourself if you wasted this time. And so you got to get up, and you got to every day be intentional and be your own boss. You got to level up.
Got to.
In your own personal life. You shouldn't even be able to go to sleep at night. You should be like, oh my God. Not because you stressed, but because I got a lot to, I am busier now, and I've been on usually 20 planes a week, and I'm sitting at home now. Why? Because God knew, Kim, this is a time for me. It's almost like the Jetsons. It's like, remember we always thought we'd be in the Jetsons in 2020? It's like we're going to be in the Jetsons in 2 months.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden everything shifted.
God was preparing you for it the whole time without us even knowing. Like Live at 9, we really kicked off in September, I believe it was. And so then Inner Circle came in October. And I believe that online platform, although you nailed it, and although you've been there for years, I think that God had you in a consistent mode where people were on there with you. And you were given word every day. Even the times where I was like, Pastor Kim, you need to, you can back off now.
Ty, let's just talk about that. Yeah. So I went back and watched one of your videos. Y'all, listen to me. Listen. Linda's and Larry's. He literally, when I'm on Live at 9, because I get excited and I get to going, and he's been telling me you need to stay at 30 minutes. Ain't nobody gonna listen to you after 30 minutes. I went and looked at one of your videos the other night. You went a whole hour.
I was my first one back on. Like, it was hard. And then I thought, man, it's easy for Pastor Kim to stay live now. I understand.
I was like, he'd be texting me, and everybody knows on the live, there's Ty.
There's Ty. Like, there's his thing. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. So we're going to keep moving on
It's
there.
because it's your purpose.
It is.
When it's your purpose, you get so excited, you lose track of time.
And it's easy to flow. And that's what there's an answer for somebody tonight. Like, you're like, what's my purpose? What comes easy? What's
Ty, talk about that.
What's natural? Here's the thing too. I can't apologize for what's natural to me. So for the difference between me and my sister is a worship leader. She's a singer. I wish I could sing, because I always say, if I could sing, I'd have been in malls. I'd have been standing everywhere just singing. Somebody would know.
I always say, good thing I ain't skinny. I'd been on a pole.
Real talk.
I mean, God knows, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Can't nobody tell me nothing. I'm just kidding.
So the thing is, what's natural though? Like, it's natural for her to sing her song. It's natural for me to talk to people. And so my thing is, what's natural? You have to find what God is naturally
What's
giving
natural?
you. Yeah.
And maybe if you don't know your purpose yet, maybe you haven't stepped out of your comfort zone to find it. It's that one stall where you got your phone in front of you and you're like, couldn't really tell you what my favorite, I couldn't really tell you anything good about myself. And then before you know it, you have sat and gave a whole testimony.
Yeah.
And now you can't put that phone down.
Yeah.
She wouldn't have known that if she wouldn't have done a challenge and stepped out of her box and did the challenge.
That's true. And you don't know until you start walking in it.
Dude, I would read because I'd sit in my car a little while that thing was overheating, waiting for it to unoverheat before I could start the doggone car. So while I was sitting there, I would take my phone out. I'd be like, hello, awesome people. And I would go, and those videos went viral. And I would go and I'd read all the comments underneath. They'd be like, why is she always in her car? Why is she always in her car? I'd be like, because I'm broke down. But see, if I would have sat there and wasted that time, you wouldn't be sitting here with me on live Instagram. You wouldn't, because I would still be at Bloomingdale's.
Yeah.
But see, I started getting out of my comfort zone and doing things that I didn't want to do. And I was consistent at it every day. Even if I wouldn't leave my house, even if I was off from Bloomingdale's that day, I would go get in my car, drive down to the park and do a video.
Yeah. Consistency. And I believe the thing is, like
and I loved it. So it was easy.
Peter didn't know he was a water walker until he stepped out of the boat. So here's my thing, Pastor. This is what I think about with the Bible.
So wait a minute. So he wouldn't have stepped out of the boat why?
He wouldn't have stepped out of the boat unless God called him to it. Unless he knew that he had it in him to walk on the water.
Uh-huh. And it was in a storm.
It was in a storm. It was in a storm.
So it would be so easy for him to sit there and hold on to the boat, scared to death. But it took the storm. It took that divorce. It took that bankruptcy. It took that sickness. It took it. It took everything that you're hating right now, sitting on the side of the road, your hoopty car, feeling sorry for yourself. Step outside your storm.
Step outside.
He wouldn't have never known he could walk on water unless he'd been in the middle of the storm, a place where he could have been sitting on that side of the boat. I can't.
Come on. I heard Bishop Miller say today.
I got chills on that one.
That in the middle of this season, we're in right here, the whole Corona season, that we all thought there were only be 5 or 6 people to preach and prophesy over the nation. But when this season's over, we're going to hear a lot more voices come.
That nobody knew about.
Nobody knew about them. But they were consistent. And they were, this is how I read the Bible. This is why I'm thinking about Peter tonight, is because wonder how many times he tried to walk on the water after Jesus called him. Because he did it before. Wonder how many times he was thinking, like, can I do this again?
Come on, Ty.
So I think with even speaking straight to millennials tonight, what did you do one time with God that you gave up or you failed in? But you've sat back for years, or you've sat back for however long thinking, can I do it again?
Can I do it again?
I do it again? Yeah. So that's my thought. Is like.
But why do we do that, Ty? Why do we do that? Why do we have success in something and then all of a sudden we get scared and back down? What are we scared of? It worked. It worked the first time.
I don't know.
And then we start letting our minds take over. And our minds start telling us, you can't do it. Well, you did it. Ain't nobody gonna care what you say. But they watched it.
They watched
How
it.
many
They
times
did
do
it.
we step out on that childlike faith and we walk on water, and then all of a sudden we start trying to figure it out. We start trying to break it down. We start trying to understand, and we get in the way of our purpose, because the devil can't take you out. He's trying to wear your butt out.
I had to turn around on that one, because you said it. You said childlike faith. You know why, Pastor Kim? Because we get grown and we think that we're too good for where we're standing. And so we got to get back to a childlike faith with God. I think the Beanians always say that God's called you to be childlike, not childish. And I think when we get into the church, we get a little prideful. And I think that we get to a place where we're too grown for our own season.
Yeah.
And so we've got to...
Yeah, we get a little taste of a platform. Now we want 12 armor bearers.
Yeah. We just get too grown for our own season, and God's got to bring us back down to a level where we can look at it again and say, regardless of the storm, regardless of Corona, regardless of quarantine, wherever we are tonight, regardless, I think people need to ask that question: can I do it again?
Yes.
Ask God. God, can I do this? Even with me in the lives. Like, why did I stop? I don't know why I stopped, but then I sat there not thinking, can I do it again?
But I think you stopped. Man, God is just giving me some wisdom on this thing. God. I think that God needed you to stop so that when you came back, you could honestly look at people and say, I don't know why I stopped. Maybe I felt insignificant. Maybe I felt like I didn't matter, because there's tons of people that you're going to touch now that you would have never touched if you wouldn't have stopped.
Come on.
You had to stop. And you had to go back.
I know you know, because we talked about it, but you were in Nigeria, I think it was. I was home in my bed. I was going through some anxiety, some whatever I was going through, and I knew that it was a demonic attack over my life, regardless of what was going on, because I believe that God knew what I was stepping into. And I believe God was saying, push a little bit harder. And I knew that God brought me out, and everything I've done in my life before, he'll bring me out again. And I stood on that word, knowing I'm about to walk into another ministry. I'm about to walk through another door. And so I just want to, I guess, encourage somebody tonight, let you know, it don't matter the season you're in. I know people looking at Corona right now. This is a huge storm for our entire generation, for our entire world. But listen, you could have went through a storm 2 months ago, a year ago, that God's already brought you out on this side, and you're able to walk into the ministry God's already called you to. And you can do it. God's already called you to it. And you're in this season now. And so I look at, I think Corona is a big thing. But to me, I already went through a storm 2 months ago. God already brought me through that storm. And I'm standing here because of what I went through then.
So what was your storm?
I don't know. And I can honestly tell you.
You let fear come in you.
It was that fear and anxiety for no reason, though.
For no reason.
You try to pinpoint it.
Yo, out of nowhere, he says, Kim, I don't know what's wrong with me. He said, I have to literally get up and walk outside to get my breath. I said, Ty, that's your mind playing tricks on you.
And don't know where it come from.
And he said, I don't know how to fix it.
And I had to keep.
But you wouldn't have had nothing to talk about on your lives if you wouldn't have had a breakdown. See, because Ty, something about you. You one of these boys that you like, get up. What? I mean, you're just so, you had to hit some rough patches so you would know what to talk about. Come on. Yes, Ty is single.
Yeah. Always got to throw that out there, don't you? But I do.
Man, somebody just asked. I'm going to tell you something. Something about these people that walk around, they ain't got no limp. They ain't never done nothing wrong. Nobody wants to listen to you. For starters, you're a whole liar. Yeah. And secondly, all of us go through bad seasons.
Come on.
But you rode it out and you got back up again. You got up and got on your feet. Absolutely. And you wouldn't have anything to talk about right now, Ty, if you wouldn't have gone through those things.
I believe it.
Ain't nobody gonna listen to you. We don't want to hear about Jesus, but never know that he brought you out of nothing.
Right. You got the church down pat. Like, I had the church thing down pat. I preached. I did it. I did everything in the church. That was the easy part. But the thing is, when you start going through those storms, like Peter, when you're facing a storm, can you still step out in the middle of it?
Can you still step out in the middle of it? Man, you said something so good tonight when you said, you start asking yourself, but can I do it again? You did it before. You loved before.
Yeah.
You got married before. You got healed from that depression before. Now all of a sudden you stuck again. Yeah. Why you think you'll never be loved or be married again? Because your mind is telling you tricks.
Come on.
You got to get out of your mind and you got to get out of that boat.
The mind is the
walk.
battlefield. Absolutely.
You did it before, you're going to do it again. And it's going to be better.
I believe it. So I see Grayson is on here. So Grayson Bearden's on here.
Hey, Grayson. Is he coming on one of yours?
Out, tomorrow night, Grayson's going to be live with me on Instagram. So y'all come back 8 o'clock tomorrow night with me and Grayson on
Grayson just passed over 1 million followers on TikTok. Know.
So Pastor Kim knows, like back in September, I was like, man, I'm on this app called TikTok, and I want to be TikTok famous. And Pastor Kim's like, do it. Get famous on TikTok.
Hey, for Grayson wasn't doing nothing a whole year ago. And Grayson now's 1 million people.
It's insane, isn't it?
You're welcome.
Yeah. I saw your word. He put it on his Instagram that you spoke over him.
That's my boy. I mean,
good.
You know, I'm here for it. I can tell you what you got to do, but if you don't do it.
Yeah. But that's anybody. If you don't do it, God can tell you all day long. Preachers, your mama, anybody can tell you all day long. But if you don't do it, it ain't going to get done. Nothing's going to get done.
I don't care if you got prophesied over Bishop, never miss a word, Dr. Apostle, give you a prophet all day long. But if you don't get up and do something.
Come on.
You got to do something with the word.
Gotcha.
You can't just because you got a word, sit there and scratch your behind and eating bonbons on the couch. And where's he at? God said I was going to get married. Where's he at? He waiting on you to learn how to wash your clothes. Cool. Waiting on you to get your submitted tail under control. God's waiting on you. He gives you words, but you gotta work them things. You gotta get yourself ready for the words. Your character has to keep up with your purpose.
The Bible says that the word will not return void.
Yeah.
But it doesn't say you won't.
Yeah.
And so God can give it to you all day long, but the Bible doesn't say. But you can drop that word real quick. And I think that we're seeing a generation of people who God gave them a word and they've dropped their word. And watch this. I believe that generation is not the millennial stage. I believe that generation is the one above us. I believe it was our parents that really dropped that ball.
Drop the ball.
And now millennials are coming back in to pick up the pieces. And they're running with pieces. And so you can't hold it against us when we're running with pieces.
Yeah, but I was running with pieces.
You were running with pieces. You're just...
Ain't nobody in the world ever taught me how to write a book. Ain't nobody in my family ever written a book. Ain't nobody in my family ever stood on these platforms. Nobody showed me. Y'all like, well, it ain't my DNA. My daddy and mama, they've been working 9 to 5 at the same job that nobody ever preached in my family. Ain't nobody ever went to church in my family. You're going to be the first.
Come on.
Stop looking. Yeah, you might be in pieces. Yeah, you might, you had a bad dad that wasn't in your life. Doesn't mean you ain't never going to be a dad.
Come on.
You got to break those cycles, man. You got to break those generational curses. You a whole boss for Jesus. His DNA runs in your body. You be the first one. You stop letting the devil tell you, it's just in your it's just in your DNA. And tell the devil, it might be in my generation. It might be a part of my DNA, but this is where it stops. I got Amen. Jesus DNA. Amen. Boom, shakalaka, laka, boom.
When you said that too, it hit me back that God said, yeah, well, you got pieces. And I think that's why it's important for millennials to have relationships with one. Because for some reason, millennials need groups. Like we're all about groups or small groups of friends. We're all about it. I believe because we've realized that we all have a piece of this thing.
Come on. I even listened to my son last night. And my son, all of a sudden, I'm talking to him like 12:30 because this thing got us all jacked up. We don't know what time it is or what day it is. And I'm talking to him on the phone. He's like, well, I don't know where we're going. Where we headed? Where we go? I said, Lincoln, get out of your house. Like you all, because he likes people.
Yeah.
I said, get out, go for a walk.
Talk to somebody on the road.
Y'all like people, man.
Yeah. And for some reason, and I think that God's given us that for the relational part of this, and that we all realize we are a piece of this, that we all don't have it all together. I don't want to talk about the older church, but I feel like
but it's true.
It is true. I feel like the older church tells you they got it all together, and they don't.
My dad, I was 36, 37, 38, 39, and I was doing better. Like I wasn't saying cuss words in the pulpit no more. I mean, I was really getting saved and stuff because I'd backslid and I was nay-naying on bars, and I was now praying. I was praying and said nay. And so I just thought my dad, I'd come a long way in my faith. I really, started getting God in my life. And man, when I tell you, like, I would always say, Dad, are you proud of me? Can I preach yet? He'd be like, no, baby girl, No, you need to learn a little bit more. You just need to. And I just never felt good enough. That's how we, as the older generation, does. Let me teach you something. Let me teach you something. When really, in reality, we need to sit our butts down and let y'all teach us something. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I excel. I know y'all smart. I'm in my lane. But I think that's the key. I think that you can't allow yourself to get stifled because you got some old people in your life.
Come on.
Who you hanging around with? Maybe you've outgrown those old people. If you're in a church and they won't let you fly, God don't expect you to stay in a church where they won't let you fly. If you're around people that won't let you fly, my daddy didn't give me a platform until I hit TD Jakes' platform. Yeah. And then when I got on TD Jakes' platform, then all of a sudden he's gonna be like, "Oh, you can preach at my church."
It's
so you can't stop just because an old person don't see your gift or your parents don't see your gift.
Come on. The Bible says, don't let them look at you like you're just a young one. Look at David. He took a huge platform as a teenager. And it doesn't matter. And he was confident. He was confident in where he stood. And so maybe that's what people are lacking. I believe that it was TD Jakes too. Speaking of Jakes, Bishop Jakes, I believe that Bishop Jakes, when I was going through anxiety and all that mess was my life, he said the one thing the enemy will do with anxiety is he'll try to strip you from your confidence. And usually people who deal with anxiety are very confident people. And so I kept listening to that word.
And everybody kept trying to bust. Oh, don't get too big for your britches.
Come on. And I believe that it was the confidence. And so you had to get to the place where I got my confidence back. I can do this. I can get out of the bed. I can take a shower and get dressed, and I can walk outside. I can talk to people. I have confidence that I can do what God called me to do.
Ty, listen what this girl said, Queasy. She said, the problem is our generation is not dependent on our older. The problem is our generation is not ready because we keep being dependent on the older generation.
Ooh, it's good. That's good. You know why? Because we're also people who it's hard for us to lay something down to fast and pray. And so we expect our anointing to come from a higher standpoint or higher people when God's called you to do it. I can't live off my mom and dad's God. Look at where we are right now in today's society.
Why do you want what your mom and daddy got? You should want more.
You should want more. You should want more. You shouldn't want the same anointing they have.
Now, if your mom is Real Talk Kim and got a platform, you can let me put your music out there. Or your podcast, Lincoln and Morgan.
There you go.
But they won't.
But that's a very good statement. That's a very good statement. But go back to where we talked about in the beginning too, is being confident who you are, being authentic. If we would show ourselves as authentic people of God, it wouldn't be hard for an older generation to see us as that.
Period.
I'm talking about myself here too. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm also a person that sometimes I get petty. You know what I mean? And sometimes I'll be like, well, if you ain't gonna do it, I ain't gonna be here. Or if this isn't how it's gonna happen, I'm out of here. You know what I mean? But I think that we've got to get to the place where we know who we are in God. We're able to walk in that, and we're walking out our destiny, our purpose, and we're able to be who God called us to be.
Yes, and that's what you basically said tonight. Man, I love so many takeaways from this. Was Peter. Listen, somebody just said, what about the Titus 3 mandate? The younger should be taught by the older. And that's true, but I'm 47 years old. Get around an older person that can pour into you.
Yeah, and I'm
not
27 years old.
With
And I'm 27 years old. And so look at how we communicate daily. I believe there's got to be
because sometimes you need somebody like an older one to be like,
oh, yeah. Well, there's a balance to it all. You can talk to me, and I can able to express ideas back into you as well.
You sure do, man. You got to get on you got to get on a playing field.
Absolutely. So we believe we're not here talking about we're bashing anybody older, the older one's bashing by younger, because the Bible also talks about in the last days, the hearts of the sons will turn back to the father, and the fathers will turn back to the son.
Come on.
We've got to get to that place where we believe. I mean, the church already talking about last days. We've been talking about it all my life, all of your life, and whoever
We've been in the last days, y'all, since my grandma and grandpa were 18, and they dead now.
Yeah, I mean, we've been there. And so if we believe that, we've got to know God is still waiting. Somebody listen to this. God is still waiting for our hearts to turn right back to the place he called it to turn to. God's still calling us into a place of purity. God is still calling us into a place of wherever he needs you to be. Like, God's
Come on, Ty.
God's still calling you. And so back to that question I said earlier, can I do it again? God's still calling you? He's still calling you.
Heck yeah, man.
All right, one last question and we'll get off of here.
I know, I got live at 9.
I know, we got to go. We got 4 minutes. So here, anybody listening on here tonight, Pastor Kim, what is one piece of practical advice that you would give them if they're starting out right now?
I would say believe in yourself, period. Don't quit because you get closed doors. I got so many doggone closed doors. My own family didn't even buy my first book until it got successful, right? So I would say believe in yourself. Do whatever you got to do. Get up every day. Even if you don't have a job, get up, put yourself on a time clock. Go after it. Be your biggest support. And don't let nobody tell you no. If people tell you you can't do it, it means they can't do it. But it don't mean you can't do it.
Amen. Amen. I'm with you. Pastor Kim, thank you. I love you.
I love you, Ty.
If you go real quick, just pray one prayer and we'll exit off of here tonight.
Okay.
Pray over the people.
Father, I just thank you right now for this incredible, God, this was fun. I love the excitement I get from pulling from Ty and the word that's in him. Lord, I just thank you for every viewer, every person that has been on here with us. God, I just thank you that you are doing something in them right now, that you are stirring up something on the inside of them that's been stuck.
Amen.
You're getting them unstuck. You're letting them you're letting them get excitement in their belly. Lord, I thank you that this is going to be the week where we figure out our purposes.
Come on.
This is a week where we're laying in our bed and it hits us against the head. That's what I'm supposed to be doing.
Amen. Amen.
So,
amen.
Lord, we thank you that we can do it again. We can do it again and again and again and again because you never give up on us.
Come on.
You don't give up. People give up on us, but you don't. So, Lord, I just thank you. Amen, amen, amen.
Amen. We love you, Pastor Kim. Thank you for coming on live
I
tonight.
love you guys. Go
Bye.
crush your life. Stop waiting for somebody to give it to you. Go crush it. Get your own life. Huh?
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Y'all, thank you for joining live tonight. Listen, I'll be back on here tomorrow night, 8 o'clock with Grayson Bearden. If you don't know who he is, he just hit 1 million followers on TikTok. He's a man of God out of Texas, Corpus Christi, Texas. It's from the Journey Church. Listen, join me tomorrow night, 8 p.m. I love you guys, and we just pray God's blessings through all of your life, the season you're standing in right now. Just go out and crush life, as Pastor Kim said. Love you guys. See you soon.